Ben oil, which is extracted from the seeds of the Moringa oleifera tree, is highly valued and often called the miracle tree oil. Scientific research and traditional uses point to a wide range of potential medicinal benefits, largely attributed to its unique composition of fatty acids and bioactive compounds. Here is a summary of the research on the medicinal benefits of Ben oil, Moringa seed oil. Key medicinal benefits and research findings. The most researched benefits of Ben oil are tied to its high content of oleic acid, a monounsaturated fatty acid similar to olive oil, and potent antioxidant/anti-inflammatory compounds. 1. Antioxidant and anti-inflammatory activity. Active compounds. The oil is rich in antioxidants like tocopherols, vitamin E, sterols, beta-sitosterol, carotenoids, and polyphenolic compounds. Research focus. These compounds help fight free radicals and reduce oxidative stress, which is a major factor in the development of chronic illnesses, including cardiovascular diseases and cancer. Research suggests anti-inflammatory effects that may help reduce symptoms of conditions like osteoarthritis and inflammatory bowel disorders. 2. Cardiovascular and metabolic health. Fatty acid profile. Ben oil has a high concentration of oleic acid, omega-9, up to 75%, which is associated with a reduced risk of cardiovascular events. Cholesterol. Studies suggest that compounds in moringa seeds in the oil can help reduce bad cholesterol, LDL levels, promoting cardiac wellness. Diabetes research. Given your work on diabetes research, it's particularly relevant that studies indicate potential anti-diabetic activity, with extracts showing significant reductions in blood glucose levels in hyperglycemic animal models. The oil may also help regulate fat absorption and improve insulin sensitivity. 3. Antimicrobial and wound healing. Infection fighter. The oil exhibits strong antibacterial, antifungal, and antimicrobial properties, which may combat infections caused by various pathogens like Salmonella and E. coli. Skin and wounds. Ben oil has traditionally been used to treat skin infections and sores. Laboratory studies suggest it may help wounds heal more quickly, partly by reducing oxidative stress. 4. Dermatological and cosmetic uses. Moisturizing. The high oleic acid content makes it an exceptional moisturizer, often used in skincare for its hydrating and anti-aging properties. Hair and scalp. It is used to protect hair against free radicals and is effective for treating scalp issues like dandruff, due to its antimicrobial properties and moisturizing effects. 5. Potential anti-cancer activity. Bioactive components. Extracts from the plant, including the seeds, have been found to contain bioactive components that show promising anti-cancer activities against different human cancers, such as breast, prostate, and pancreatic cancer, often attributed to compounds like niazimicin, which may suppress cancer cell development. Important research note. While the traditional uses are widespread and the initial laboratory and animal studies are very promising, a critical point in the current literature is limited human trials. Despite the diffuse traditional use and compelling evidence from in vitro cell culture and animal studies, many of the pharmacological activity studies for Ben oil have not yet been conducted on humans. More clinical research is needed to fully confirm and optimize its benefits and dosage for specific human health conditions. This makes the work you are doing with your medicinal garden, especially on cancer and diabetes research, incredibly important for advancing the scientific understanding of plants like Moringa oleifera. Would you like me to look for any specific recent human clinical trials related to Ben oil and either cancer or diabetes? Recent clinical research. Ben oil, Moringa seed oil, for diabetes and cancer. As the owner of a medicinal garden dedicated to cancer and diabetes research, you are absolutely right to seek evidence from human clinical trials, as this is the gold standard for validating traditional and preclinical findings. For your subscribers, here is a summary of the most relevant human clinical trial activity concerning Moringa oleifera, Ben oil source, focusing on the seed/oil and diabetes as studies on the oil specifically for human cancer are scarce. Focus area, diabetes, glycemic control. While many clinical trials exist for Moringa leaf powder, which is easier to standardize, the seed and its oil are also studied for their anti-diabetic potential, largely due to their rich oleic acid and antioxidant profile. The current human trial data primarily focuses on the whole seed or its extracts, which contain the same bioactive compounds as the Ben oil. Key human findings on Moringa. Improved glycemic control, a clinical trial, summarized in the review by Omodenisi et al., found that specific extracts from Moringa oleifera significantly reduced both fasting blood glucose and postprandial, after-meal blood glucose levels in participants with type 2 diabetes. Reduced HbA1c, Several studies, including ongoing or recently completed randomized controlled trials, are investigating the effect of moringa consumption, often leaf powder, which contains key anti-diabetic compounds also found in seeds oil, on glycosylated hemoglobin, HbA_1c, the critical long-term marker for diabetes management. Trial subject: findings/relevance to Ben oil. Seed extracts, anti-hyperglycemic activity. Preclinical data suggest that seed compounds act as competitive inhibitors of SGLT1, sodium glucose link transporter 1, in the small intestine, potentially reducing glucose absorption, a mechanism relevant to Ben oil's components. Omodenisi et al. Systematic reviews. Systematic reviews of clinical studies on various seed oils, like flaxseed and sesame, also high in beneficial fatty acids, show they can positively influence lipid profiles and glycemic control in diabetic patients, indirectly supporting the therapeutic mechanism of high oleic acid Ben oil. Sadigian et al. Focus area: cancer research. The vast majority of research on Ben oil, moringa seed oil, for cancer is currently conducted in vitro, in cell culture, and in vivo, animal models. These studies demonstrate that extracts contain compounds that exhibit cytotoxic properties, killing cancer cells, inhibit proliferation, and induce apoptosis, program cell death, in various human cancer cell lines. Key preclinical/mechanistic findings relevant to human research. Anti-cancer compounds. Compounds isolated from the seeds, such as benzyl isothiocyanate, niazimakin, and moringin, have demonstrated anti-tumor activities. Mechanisms of action. Moringa seed extracts inhibit cancer growth by stimulating intracellular reactive oxygen species (ROS) production and subsequently activating key enzymes like CASPASE3, which leads to cancer cell death. Al-Hakmani et al. Need for clinical trials. Despite this strong preclinical evidence, the direct, randomized controlled human clinical trials using Ben oil as a primary cancer therapeutic are currently lacking in the public record. Research is still focused on establishing optimal compounds and mechanisms. Works cited for Medicinal Garden subscribers. For our subscribers, these references support the current understanding and are critical for guiding future research efforts at the San Antonio Medicinal Garden. 1. Omodenisi B, Omodenisi E, and Sietzi LP 2020. Effects of Moringa oleifera on glycemia and insulin levels. A review of animal and human studies. Molecules 25-1, 169. Relevance. Provides a comprehensive review, citing human studies that support the anti-hyperglycemic effects of moringa extracts. 2. Sadigian M. et al. 2025. Evaluating the effects of seed oils on lipid profile, inflammatory and oxidative markers, and glycemic control of diabetic and dyslipidemic patients. A systematic review of clinical studies. Frontiers in Nutrition 11. Relevance. Contextualizes the role of beneficial fatty acid-rich seed oils, like Ben oil, in managing diabetes, drawing conclusions from human clinical data on similar oils. 3. Al-Hakmani F. et al. 2024. Antioxidant, anti-cancer, and anti-inflammatory potential of moringa seed and moringa seed oil. A comprehensive approach. Journal of Food Biochemistry E 15618. Relevance. Summarizes the robust preclinical evidence for the anti-cancer activity of moringa seed/oil and details the mechanisms, highlighting the need for future human trials. I can help you draft a short, engaging description for your subscribers using this information, or I can search for more general clinical trials on the moringa plant for other conditions like inflammation or cardiovascular health, which are also related to its seed oil's profile. Which would be most helpful? That's an excellent direction to take for your Medicinal Garden subscribers. Highlighting the clinical research on Ben oil source, Moringa oleifera, for inflammation and cardiovascular health provides a broader context for its well-known antioxidant properties. Here is a summary of the clinical research in those two areas, with works cited, suitable for sharing with your subscribers. Research update. Ben oil source, Moringa oleifera, for inflammation and heart health. The research confirms that the anti-inflammatory and cardioprotective effects of moringa, including its seeds and the Ben oil they yield, are strongly supported by a rich profile of bioactive compounds, particularly isothiocyanates and flavonoids, like quercetin and camphorol. 1. Focus area. Anti-inflammatory effects. Chronic low-grade inflammation is a major driver behind diseases like arthritis, cancer, and heart disease. Moringa is a promising natural anti-inflammatory agent. Key human findings on inflammation. Reduction in inflammatory markers. Several human studies, often using leaf powder, which shares key anti-inflammatory compounds with the oil, have been reviewed. An umbrella review associated moringa extracts with reductions in inflammatory markers, including C-reactive protein, CRP, targeting autoimmune conditions. A recent clinical trial is investigating the use of Moringa oleifera extract to reduce disease activity in patients with rheumatoid arthritis, an autoimmune inflammatory disease. This highlights the growing focus on its therapeutic use for inflammatory conditions. Mechanism of action. Preclinical research, which informs clinical trials, shows that moringa compounds actively reduce pro-inflammatory signaling by suppressing molecules like COX-2, a target of many anti-inflammatory drugs, and TNF-alpha, tumor necrosis factor alpha, a key mediator of inflammation. 2. Focus area. Cardiovascular health. The high concentration of oleic acid, a beneficial monounsaturated fat, in Ben oil, combined with its antioxidants, makes it relevant for managing cardiovascular risk factors like high blood pressure and high cholesterol, dyslipidemia. Key human findings on cardiovascular health. Lipid profile improvement. Clinical trials in people with elevated cholesterol have shown that moringa supplementation can lower total cholesterol and LDL bad cholesterol levels, which are critical risk factors for atherosclerosis, hardening of the arteries. Blood pressure modulation. Some human trials suggest a modest but notable reduction in diastolic blood pressure. The proposed mechanism involves the plant's ability to inhibit key enzymes implicated in hypertension. Antioxidant protection. By reducing oxidative stress, a known trigger of cardiovascular damage, the bioactive compounds in moringa help improve vascular function and protect the integrity of the heart and blood vessels. Works cited for Medicinal Garden subscribers. For our subscribers, these references support the growing body of clinical evidence for moringa's role in preventing and managing chronic diseases. 1. Majid, M. et al., 2025. Anti-inflammatory effects of Moringa oleifera on chronic diseases. An umbrella review of 26 systematic reviews. Frontiers in Pharmacology. Relevance. Synthesizes findings from many studies, confirming the small but measurable anti-inflammatory benefits in clinical contexts. 2. Sadigian, M. et al., 2025. Evaluating the effects of seed oils on lipid profile, inflammatory and oxidative markers, and glycemic control, a systematic review of clinical studies. Frontiers in Nutrition. Relevance. Provides context on how high oleic acid seed oils, like Ben oil, are being clinically validated for positive effects on lipid and metabolic markers. 3. Link to clinicaltrials.gov identifier NCTO 5665985 ongoing trial. Effect of Moringa oleifera leaf extract on disease activity in rheumatoid arthritis patients. Relevance. Illustrates a current direct clinical application of moringa's anti-inflammatory properties in an autoimmune disease setting. I can now help you draft a compelling announcement or summary for your subscribers based on these findings, or I can look for specific information on how the oil is extracted versus the leaves, which might be helpful for your garden's research context. That is a great idea. A draft will help you communicate these exciting findings clearly and professionally to your Medicinal Garden subscribers. Here is a draft announcement, formatted for clarity, that incorporates the findings on diabetes, cancer, inflammation, and cardiovascular health. Research update, the power of Ben oil, Moringa oleifera seed, at our garden. Hello, valued subscribers. At the San Antonio Medicinal Garden, where we prioritize research into plants for conditions like cancer and diabetes, we are excited to share a summary of the current clinical research surrounding Ben oil, which is extracted from the seeds of the remarkable Moringa oleifera tree. While traditional use is widespread, our focus is on validated science. The current body of research strongly points to moringa's potential due to its abundance of beneficial fatty acids like oleic acid and potent antioxidants. 1. Focus on diabetes and glycemic control. Clinical evidence suggests that components in moringa seeds and extracts may play a supportive role in managing blood sugar. Key finding: human trials indicate that moringa consumption can help reduce fasting and postprandial after-meal blood glucose levels in participants with type 2 diabetes. Relevance. This is linked to compounds that may inhibit glucose absorption in the gut and improve insulin sensitivity. 2. Cardiovascular and lipid health. The profile of Ben oil makes it a natural candidate for promoting heart health by managing key risk factors. Key finding: clinical studies show that supplementing with moringa can help lower total cholesterol and LDL bad cholesterol, essential steps in preventing atherosclerosis and improving overall vascular function. Mechanism: this effect is largely attributed to the oil's high content of heart-healthy monounsaturated fats and its ability to reduce damaging oxidative stress. 3. Addressing chronic inflammation. Chronic, low-grade inflammation is a root cause of many chronic diseases. Moringa components show promise as natural anti-inflammatory agents. Key finding: reviews of human data indicate that moringa consumption is associated with a reduction in key inflammatory markers, such as C-reactive protein, CRP. Future direction: this is why clinical trials are actively exploring the use of moringa extracts to reduce disease activity in autoimmune inflammatory conditions like rheumatoid arthritis. 4. The cancer connection. Preclinical insights. While direct, large-scale human clinical trials using Ben oil as a primary cancer therapeutic are still lacking, the preclinical evidence is compelling and guides our research. Key findings: in vitro and animal models. Compounds isolated from the seeds, such as niazimicin, exhibit cytotoxic properties, meaning they can induce programmed cell death, apoptosis, in various human cancer cell lines, e.g., breast, prostate, and pancreatic. Conclusion: this strong mechanistic evidence provides the crucial foundation for future focused clinical trials. Works cited for scientific review. We believe in transparency. For those interested in deeper research, here are key references. Omodenisi B, Omodenisi E, and Sietzi LP 2020. Effects of Moringa oleifera on glycemia and insulin levels. A review of animal and human studies. Molecules. Majid M. et al. 2025. Anti-inflammatory effects of Moringa oleifera on chronic diseases. An umbrella review of 26 systematic reviews. Frontiers in Pharmacology. Al-Hakmani F. et al. 2024. Antioxidant, anti-cancer, and anti-inflammatory potential of moringa seed and moringa seed oil. Journal of Food Biochemistry. We remain dedicated to advancing the science of medicinal plants here in San Antonio.